Electric Friends, a Gary Numan podcast. The songs and stories of a music icon.
Hello, I'm Tom and welcome to Electric Friends, a Gary Numan podcast. And I have something very special for this episode. It's an interview with none other than Gary's eldest daughter, who is following Gary into the world of music, Raven Numan. Raven has so far released 6 excellent tracks produced by Ade Fenton. If you haven't already heard them, I'd highly recommend checking them out. You'll hear some clips of them in the episode too. Raven chats about her music, album and tour plans, growing up discovering her dad's music and fandom, her love of Nine Inch Nails, and much more. So enjoy the interview, and I'll speak to you again at the end. Joining me on Electric Friends today, very, very special guest. It's none other than Raven Numan. So thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
Let's go right back to the start. Growing up, do you remember there being, say, like, I don't know, a time or moment when you kind of understood what your dad did, or the first time you kind of heard his music and any of that kind of stuff?
Yes. I mean, I remember always, like, from, I don't know, 2, 3 maybe, like, I would hear his music because it's around constantly, and, like, you know, I'd go into his studio and stuff, but I didn't really understand, you know? Like, I didn't understand, I didn't really know what famous was. I just thought that his job was singing, you know?
Yeah.
But I do remember there was this one time, the first time I realized that he was, you know, famous, and that the singing that he would do in his studio actually, like, was a job. I was 8, and I think it was either Bryson Dome or, no, it was I think it was the Indigo, the O2 Indigo. I think, I don't know, one of those venues. I do know I was 8 years old, and I remember, like, seeing him come on stage, and then everyone around me started, like, cheering and, like, you know, yelling his name. You know, they normally do this, like, chant, the Numan chant. So I heard that, and I was like, whoa, okay, so this is serious and this is real, and he's actually like Rihanna. That's what, because Rihanna was my favorite. So I was like, oh, he does what Rihanna does. But yeah, I think I was like around 8 years old. Yeah.
Was it a weird reaction then, just seeing how passionate his fans still are, obviously?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it wasn't necessarily weird. It was more like, oh my God, this is really cool. This is like insane. And I remember, like, also feeling in that moment like, oh, I kind of want to do this, you know. This is like I love attention. So I was like, oh, this is perfect for me, especially at 8. Oh my God, I loved attention. So yeah, no, it was definitely, it was overwhelming for sure. It was overwhelming, but yeah, it was just overall, like, really cool. That's what I remember.
I bet. And I think one of the many things I love about Gary is just how down to earth he is in a way that, you know, many rock stars aren't always. So, and how is it for you to kind of, you and your sisters, to, when it comes to having, say, Dad Gary, and then seeing him transform into, like, rock star Gary on the stage?
I don't know. I admire him a lot. So I think when I see that happen, I mean, like, when I, you know, backstage, he's doing his dad things, I guess, and then he's playing this. There's this game called Township, so where you, like, feed your cows and you're, like, the mayor of a town. And me and him are, like, we play that together all the time. So that's basically what he does. Like, backstage, he'll just play Township, you know, and it'll be us playing Township, or any game. And then to see him, like, kind of transform and then go on stage and do his thing is just kind of surreal. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just, I don't know, every time it gets me, you know, there's not a single time where I've been like, oh, okay, this is his job. I'm just like, whoa, that's so cool. Every single time. So, yeah, but no one's ever asked me that. I have to think about that more.
Well, you kind of touched upon it, but like obviously you grew up in and around music and entertainment. So was the idea of making your own music always kind of in the back of your mind?
Yeah, for sure. I think when I moved to LA, that's when it really became like a thing that I wanted to do. Because I started, you know, getting into these huge pop stars. Like, I've always been a Beyonce fan, still am. You know, I loved Katy Perry. Katy Perry was the main pop star that got me into music. So I think watching them and listening to their music, that's what really like motivated me to like start writing stupid little like pop tunes when I was like 9 or 10 and really, you know, get into that. That's, I think, yeah.
And was it quite a daunting prospect, I suppose, or just exciting, sort of putting yourself out there like that and showing people your own music?
It was definitely daunting. I was very nervous at first. Like when I first announced like that my first single was coming out, I was so scared. I was really scared. I was very excited. It wasn't the scared where you're like, oh, I'm going to vomit and throw up. This is the worst thing in the world. It was more like, whoa, this is actually happening. But no, I was definitely nervous. Definitely. I think each release I was really nervous because, I don't know, it's something that I wrote in this room, actually. Like all of these songs I wrote in this room, and it's just like, you know, it's comfortable. I feel comfortable in here. And these songs are like very, well, some of them, not all of them, are very vulnerable. So releasing them to like a ton of people was very scary to me. But then at the end of the day, this is what I want to do. And, you know, that's that. This is my job.
I'm not who I used to be. The needle's taking over me. The syrup's running through my veins. Through my veins. My body starts to float away. Stare and disbelief. I think it's time for you to leave. Through my skin, just a sting. It cures all the little things in the veins. It makes its way. The liquid tells me I'm okay. Through my skin, just a sting. It cures all the little things in the veins. It makes its way. The liquid tells me I'm okay.
Well, yeah, I'd never thought of it like that. The idea of, kind of one moment you kind of have it just on your laptop or written down, and then suddenly the idea of having other people hear it. Because I spoke with Aid Fenton, and he's obviously worked with you on these tracks, and he said he couldn't believe just sort of how good your initial demos were, and has been blown away with everything you've done so far. So, and I think he said like when the idea of playing it to other people, you're like, no, I don't want that to happen. But what's it been like teaming up with him in particular on these tracks?
He's honestly like the best. He's so talented, so good. Well, so I've known him my whole life, so I really do love him, and I have so much respect for him. He's like, besides my dad, he's like another huge inspiration to me, and I really do admire him a lot. Working with him has been it's been really fun. He's really funny. So basically, like, this is I work. Well, we live in different countries, right? So I will do all of, like, I'll write the music, I'll write the lyrics, figure out the melody, and just, vomit out loads of stuff. And then I send it over to him, and he, like, polishes it and makes it so good, so much better than, like, he'll add, like, there's just tiny little details that he'll, add, and it's just like, whoa, that makes it just so much better. And I love working like that. I'm very shy, so I'm not really good with working with other people, especially if they're in the room. It's still hard for me to go into a studio and, like, record, like, vocals with him or my dad, because I just get really nervous. So it's like a good dynamic, you know what I mean? So, like, I'll just send it over on, like, email or whatever, and then he'll do the rest, and we'll figure it out from there. But yeah, no, it's really fun. I've gotten used to it. I remember, like, when I first went, when was it? Oh, this was like 2.5 years ago when I first started recording vocals for some of these songs that I've released. We made a makeshift studio in my bedroom because we have a house in Scotland. So in my bedroom in Scotland, we got, like, mattresses, and we like tore up my bed and, like, put mattresses all around it, like a mattress on top, and, like, loads of, like, blankets over it. And I would go inside the, like, mattress fort and just, start recording my vocals. That was really fun. I did like that. And also I forced him to leave the room because like I said, I'm so shy. I cannot hear. Yeah. Like, I cannot have a really small amount of people. Like, if there's, like, 3 people in the room, I cannot sing for you. I cannot. Like, I will blank out and pass out probably. So, yeah, I think we work really well together, to be honest.
In terms of, like, shyness and what have you, like, how, because I can't imagine what it's like. So, yeah, I think your first solo performance was at Electric Ballroom a few years ago. I think that was that one, for Gary's 1000th show.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, go up on stage and sing your own songs.
It was, looking back on it, it was really fun. But I think, and also, you know what, like, going on stage, like, as soon as you go on stage, I don't know what it is. I was talking to my dad about it, and he has the exact same, like, feelings. Beforehand, I was so nervous. Like, I wouldn't leave the dressing room. I would sit on there was, like, a little red couch in the dressing room. I had my own dressing room. That was so cool. I loved that. But I would just sit on the couch and just, disassociate and try to calm down because I was so nervous. And I remember I needed, like a trash can next to me at all times, just in case, I got so nervous that I needed to, like, throw up. But I think the scariest part was honestly the anticipation, though. Like, actually going on stage, that wasn't scary whatsoever. Because I think when you do go on stage, at first, it really doesn't feel real. And I kind of imagined that I was singing in my bedroom, which really did help. Yeah. But no, that part was really fun for me. And I think it starts to feel more real towards, like, the end of your set, for sure. Like, I was like, oh, wait, I'm actually on stage, So, like, I could not forget any lyrics, and I did do that. I did do that a couple of times.
Yeah, he does that sometimes, so, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does. But, yeah, no, it was really fun. It was fun. Yeah. I was nervous, but it was really fun.
I bet. Yeah. Well, you've released 6 tracks so far, starting with My Reflection, and for that to get top 60 in the UK charts. I mean, that's no easy feat for a brand new artist these days.
No.
So that alone must have felt amazing at the time.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that to happen whatsoever. Like, I don't think anyone, unless you're like, I don't know, Beyonce or something like that, I did not expect that to happen, especially being like brand new with like, I don't know, I think I had like 9,000, like there was in no world did I think that was going to happen. But that, yeah, I couldn't stop crying. Like I was crying. I remember it was like 1 a.m. and it had just been released. I think it was like in the UK it had been released or whatever, but like it was 1 a.m. and my boyfriend at the time actually was like showing me like the iTunes chart and he was like, you're in here. You're like in here and you're actually far up. And I was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. But yeah, that was kind of crazy. That was so cool. Yeah.
So much potential gone to waste because of fears. My comprehension of what happens disappears. Don't waste your time on tiny insecurities. So much attention, overwhelmed, and I can't breathe. My reflection looks at me, tells me that I need to ease. This strange addiction won't help me. Not that successful, don't mind me.
And when were the songs written? Is it from a few years ago? Is it relatively recently? Is it a bunch of different times?
So my reflection was written about 4 years ago, I think. Yeah, March 2021. So I was 17. And that was like kind of peak COVID, you know, like just, I think we were just starting to like, the vaccine was coming out and stuff like that. So I was trapped in here going down like a social media thing, just a huge hole of terrible stuff. You get sucked into it. And I think during that time, social media really did get to me. And I was really down. I was super depressed. I wasn't, I wasn't all there. And I just started to feel very insecure about myself because I would compare myself to literally everyone that appeared on my screen online. So I'm not good with talking about my emotions, so I normally write. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I just sat down and I started writing. And I think the only way that I'm able to express my emotions is through music. So that's what I'll do. Anytime I feel sad, it's normally when I'm feeling like down, like very negative, I will sit down and just like throw out loads, like literally everything I'm feeling, just like write that down.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think the other songs, there's a couple of them I wrote like late 2022, so not that long ago. And then Here For Me I wrote when I was 16, like towards like the beginning of 2020, I think. Just a number, actually. I wrote that in I originally wrote that in 2021, but then I like changed all of the lyrics to fit what the relationship I was going through during that time. So I completely scrapped everything and rewrote the whole thing. But yeah, a lot of them are very recent. Like I'd say like 2022 to like 2023. And then there's like a couple that are from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, and you sort of touched on it as well, but people are far more, say, open about mental health and all that kind of thing today compared to when Gary was your age. But he would still sing about his struggles and emotions in a time where people perhaps didn't open up. And so how inspiring has his journey, particularly with his Asperger's and all that kind of thing, been for you growing up, and then in for your own lyrics as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think my dad and I are very similar. I have a borderline personality disorder, which is so horrendous. But so it's basically like there can be one, like someone could say one trigger word or one word that I don't like, or I'll start feeling something just out of nowhere, and that's it. I will be the nastiest person on the planet, and I genuinely cannot control it. So you kind of like shut down and you tell the people around you, please do not talk to me, or I will, say some vile things and not mean that, anything I say. So I'm going to go to my room and sit down. And I feel like my dad, like also, being on the spectrum, that is really hard because you have those similar switches. Well, for him, I'm not talking for like everybody, but what I've noticed with him is there will be times where like you switch and you're like in this like aggravated state, and there's literally nothing you can do to get out of it until like it just goes away on its own. And I feel like that's why me and my dad like bump heads a lot, because I'm very stubborn, he's very stubborn, and if he's not understanding what I'm saying, I'm gonna get angry. And if he and if I'm not understanding what he's saying, either way we get really angry, and we're just like fighting. Oh my god, this literally happened like a few days ago. We were talking about credit cards, and I was trying to explain to him something to do with like my credit card, and he wasn't understanding. And then I got so frustrated, but he was getting equally as frustrated because he couldn't understand, but he thought he was right, but he wasn't right. I was right. And so just, things like that. But I think also growing up with parents that are very open, and they're like incredibly open and incredibly supportive, really helps, because I'm able to get mad at my dad, and I'm able to get angry at my mom, and also like, express myself, and without them, I think it's been very helpful, especially for me, and with the way that I work, because I'm odd. But no, they've definitely helped a lot with, all of that. Yeah, what was your question again?
You've definitely answered it. Thanks so much for opening up about that. But I feel like with, obviously, Gary and Gemma are hugely involved in terms of supporting your career, just like his parents did. But was it kind of important for you both, maybe for Gary to take a little bit of a backseat, I guess, in terms of letting you sort of go on your own path in your own music?
Yeah, for sure. I think my parent, right now they are basically they're my managers. So, they do deal with like the behind the scenes stuff with me. But other than that, they do their own thing and I do my own thing.
Yeah.
The only time I ever go to my dad, to do with like, I guess, music, is if I'm finished writing a song, like, I have like a demo and I want his approval, because I still, I still want that that, oh, you did a good job. You know what I mean? And luckily there's never been a time where he's been like, this is, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this, but like, okay, he was like, this is shit. He's never said that. So that's good. But like, I will give him my laptop and I'll put the headphones on and I'll keep saying, it's just a demo. Like, remember, it's a demo, and all that stuff. But if I see him like doing this with his head, I'm like, yes.
I don't know why I chose to love you more than myself. You hurt me and made me break. I wish I was someone else. Laying my tears of hatred, drowning a pool of darkness. My face starts to turn blue. I start to cry, nothing new. I wish I never knew you. I wish I didn't care. I wish I moved on without you. But I am still right here.
And in terms of like, I guess inspirations in general, what else say inspires your music? Whether it's like music, fashion, TV. I think I read somewhere that horror films are a big inspiration for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely horror films. I'd say like the Victorian era is also a very big inspiration. I love the fashion. I love the like dark sort of gothic, especially European, like that, like during, I don't know what it would be called in like France. I just know that in the UK it's the Victorian times, but it's just dark and I love that. I really love that. And I love the fashion and I love the architecture. And I feel like, I'm not sure why it inspires me, but it definitely does. But yeah, I mean, horror films for sure. But honestly, I think my biggest inspiration when it comes to the type of music I write is Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails. For sure. Best band out there. Like, they are genuinely, well, he is genuinely the best at what he does. And I really look up to him and I really, really admire him. Yeah. Like, normally if I'm feeling uninspired, I'll go watch like some music videos or some, interviews. And then I'm like, right back up and I'm like feeling regenerated,
Yeah. Yeah. Have you had chance to meet him when Gary's met up with him?
Yeah, quite a few times. Yeah.
What's he like in person?
He's really cool. He's very similar to my dad. Very similar. Like from what I've seen, he's kind of shy, but he's so interesting and he has such a way with his words. But yeah, no, he's really interesting. I remember we went to like a party of his, like I think this was 2015 or 2014, and my youngest sibling, Echo, she was like 6, 7, and she went up to him and she asked him if he was the gardener at his house. And then I don't really remember what happened after that, but I do remember he gave her like a tour of the whole property and stuff. But I do remember that because that was really funny to me, and he was so sweet about the whole thing. Because if someone asked me if I was the gardener of my house, I would be so mad.
That is quite surreal. I'm still hoping that there's a world where Trent and Gary can team up for some
I know.
Something or other. The timing is right one day.
I know, me too.
And how have you found the kind of, I guess, the response in general to your music so far? Like, because I feel from what I can see, it's been incredibly positive online.
Yeah. I've hardly had anything negative, which was so strange. But no, I'm very grateful. Like, I'm very grateful because, like, I mean, like you said, like, the response has been so positive and so just good, like, you know, and that's definitely hyped me up a lot and made me feel so much better about releasing music. Because I mean, like I said before, it was very scary. So, you know, when you have people, like, especially like women, when it comes to like my reflection and things like that, you know, coming to me and saying that like the song has actually like helped them through like some things, and just, you know, when you get messages like that, it really does touch you. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
Yeah. And how important has it been for you to be, I guess, like, not only the music side, but to be heavily involved in the artistic direction of your style, and, you know, when it comes to music videos and things like that? Because obviously Gary was very much the same with all his imagery and all that kind of thing.
It can be a little bit like stressful sometimes, because I get overwhelmed really easily. I literally wrote a song about it. But I feel like having that control and being able to control your own image is definitely I feel like a sense of relief, because I know loads of people have not been able to do that. So I guess like having control over that definitely, I don't know, like I said before, I'm grateful for that. But like being able to mix what I'm into music videos is actually, it's really fun. You know, it's fun to be able to do that. You know, like the dark, bloody, you know, cracked mirrors and stuff like that. That was so cool to me. But I think working with some really incredible directors helps for sure, because you throw out your idea and then they just add on, kind of like a producer, you know?
Yeah.
They add on and make it 10 times better.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you need to pick your directors wisely. And I've loved all of mine so far.
I don't know if you're allowed to say, but obviously we'd love to hear a full album and a tour and all that kind of thing. Do you know what's next in the works? Is that, I guess that's the plan, or?
I do know what's next. I don't know how much I'm allowed to like speak about it. I know so many people have been talking about the album. And I wish I was able to control it, but I'm not, you know?
Yeah.
And touring, that's another thing I can't really say. But just know that it'll be this year. So,
amazing.
yeah,
Watch this space. There'll be a lot of people excited to hear that. Well, just finally then, when it comes to your dad's music in particular, are there any like particular songs of his or eras that you kind of love more than any others that you go to for particular situations or that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I think I feel like this is a very basic answer, but it's the truth. I think his like 1979 to like around 1980, that like whole that era, 100%. I mean, I admire him so much because he was my age during that time. So I think asking him about it and talking to him about it, and like, you know, like him telling me how he felt and how evil the press were, and him being able to like get through that and still continue to do what he does, no matter, you know, the roller coaster of you know, his career. I don't know, I really look up to that period the most. Just think, one, it's cool, the music, you know, great, it's so different, and he looks cool, you know, he looks so cool. Like I remember when I was like little, I used to try to find like other artists that were like him to see, you know, just to like, you know, see, but there's no one. And I'm not just saying that because he's my dad, and you know, I am hyping him up right now, but there really isn't. And like, I think that's cool, and I want to be like that, you know. I want to be different and not put into this generic ball, you know. I don't know. Definitely then. I think definitely that period of time. And also now, to be honest, now as well. Like, I'd say from like Splinter until, you know, his last album, this, like, seeing him come back, you know, and get back into the charts and get really high up into the charts, and like seeing him, you know, play Wembley and just these big venues, and him getting like Glastonbury and like Cruel World and just these really cool, you know, festivals and venues and just all of this stuff. I think that's so cool as well, to be able to like come back, because it's so difficult to do that. It is so difficult to be like peak, go down, and then come back and be, you know, great again.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has a story quite like his in terms of how he's done that, and it's not, you know, a lot of artists from his generation would get to a certain point and then just do like, you know, greatest hits and that's it, whereas he just keeps going, keeps releasing amazing music, and I think that's what makes it so special. So
yeah, for sure, I agree with you on that.
And will you be going to Glastonbury? Will you be able to see him? Yeah, amazing. Yeah
I will, hopefully. Actually, I'm allowed to say this because I'm not under my label with this part. I will be performing with him. That's going to be fun. I had to beg him. So I will be performing for that one. And I don't know, I'm really looking forward to it. I think there's some really cool people playing that day as well. So, you know, some of my favorite artists. So I will be hopping around and just, you know, seeing loads of people. I'm very excited for that.
Amazing. Well, obviously look forward to all that and everything that's coming up for you as well. And yeah, it's just been amazing having you on the podcast. So thanks so much for joining me, Raven, on Electric Friends.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again to Raven. It was so awesome speaking to her at such length. A real privilege to do so. It will be great to hear news of her debut album and first tour, and it'll be really exciting to see her join Gary at Glastonbury too. And thanks for listening, of course. I'll be back next time with another episode. The video version of this interview will go out on YouTube soon, or it might already be there, so enjoy that. You can contact me as always, newmanpodcast@gmail.com, or find me on all the socials at Newman Podcast. So for now, thanks for listening, and I'll see you again soon.
Electric Friends, a Gary Numan podcast. The songs and stories of a music icon.